I feel like I wear this shirt in every single one of my doll collecting advice videos. I mean, this shirt is really comfortable, so that's probably why I wear it all the time. And welcome back to my doll collecting channel. Today I want to talk about some of the reasons why doll collectors don't feel comfortable telling their friends and family about their collection. Also, if you're feeling this way, if you don't feel comfortable telling your friends and family that you collect dolls and you really want to tell them, I'm going to give you some strategies for ways that you can tell them. But first, what are some of the reasons why people don't feel comfortable sharing about their doll collection? So number one is social stigma. Doll collecting may carry a certain social stigma where it is perceived as unusual or childish by some people. Collectors may fear being judged or ridiculed by others for their hobby. Number two is misunderstandings. Friends and family members may not fully understand the fascination and value behind doll collecting, leading to misconceptions and dismissive attitudes, which are always so much fun. The fear of being made fun of or mocked by loved ones could deter some doll collectors from sharing about their doll collection. They might worry about being the subjects of jokes or teasing. And we know how relentless some family members can be. Doll collecting is often associated with childhood or immaturity. Individuals might worry that revealing their hobby could create the impression that they're not mature or that they're too busy living in the past. We have seen this recently in the last few months. I have talked about this phenomenon on my channel before, and it is about the kidult. And the kidult is a new term that arose from the pandemic as more adults are buying toys for themselves. And yes, there is a lot of backlash for this. And I talked about that in the video that I'll have linked in the description. It's called How Companies Are Responding to the Kidult. And I talk about the kidult phenomenon and how people's reactions to it. So if you want more information about this phenomenon of adults since the pandemic buying more toys for themselves, make sure to go check that out. Number five is the lack of appreciation. Some people might feel that their friends and family won't appreciate the time, the effort, the money that they spent on their collection. And they won't understand that this is no different from other hobbies that people do. I mean, I live in Canada, so a lot of people play hockey, and I don't understand how somebody could spend that much money on hockey equipment, but people do. And I don't judge them for that. Fear of being labeled. Doll collectors might be concerned that talking about their doll collection might lead them to being labeled as weird or strange. Doll collectors might be concerned that disclosing their doll collecting hobby will lead them to being labeled as weird or strange. Number seven is some people are afraid of sharing their doll collection because of privacy and personal space. Keeping the doll collection private could be a way for individuals to maintain their personal space and create kind of a separation between their friends and family. Another reason why doll collectors might be hesitant to share their collection with friends and family is not them being interested. And that doesn't make a lot of grammatical sense, so let me rephrase that. Some people are worried that if they tell their friends and family that they collect dolls, their friends and family won't want to hang out with them anymore because they will perceive that they don't have other interests and other things in common. And this goes back to labels about being labeled as weird or strange. Just because there isn't this common interest, let's say your friends and family aren't interested in doll collecting, this, could lead to perception that you can't be friends anymore because you're not interested in the same thing. Now that we have covered some of the reasons why doll collectors are afraid of sharing about their collection with others, let's talk about some of the strategies that you can implement, or at least keep in the back of your mind if you do decide to tell your friends and family about your collection. And as I said before, don't feel pressure to share with your friends and family. If you really know that your friends and family are not going to be supportive, you don't have to tell them. That is a choice up to you, and you need to, make decisions for yourself, and don't just trust some random person on the internet like myself. So my first piece of advice is to start small. You don't have to share your doll collecting with everyone in your family or all your friends all at once. If you are nervous, you can just tell 1 or 2 people at a time. Tell someone that's very, very close to you that you feel like is gonna be supportive, and kind of build your way up to telling everybody. And that's my advice for a lot of things. If you are kind of holding something in that you are afraid people are going to judge you for, my advice is to start small and this is like the worst advice if you're nervous about sharing a secret with everybody, don't just like go on Facebook and make a big post being like, I'm this way, or I collect dolls, or something like that. Because if it's a negative reaction, you have to deal with, you know, dozens, maybe hundreds of people's opinions all at once, and that's a lot to process. So my advice when you have a big announcement like that is just to tell people individually and then handle those reactions one at a time, because if you get a negative reaction, you can take more time to process it before you move on to the next person and tell the next person. That's just my advice for a lot of situations, not just doll collecting. Maybe you could educate them and help your friends and family understand the depth of your interest in doll collecting. Sharing information about the history, the craftsmanship, the value of the dolls. Some people get really excited when you talk about values. By providing knowledge, you can dispel misconceptions and create a better understanding of why you collect dolls. And this is different for everybody. Everyone is unique and has different reasons for why they collect dolls, different brands that they collect. For example, I mostly collect American Girl, and I love the American Girl historicals the most. I do collect, you know, the occasional girl of the year, but the historicals are my thing because I love history. Oh, I just hit my table. But, you know, just talk about why you like collecting. And if I have any questions, feel free to answer them. Number 3, if possible, talk about the skills that you have developed through your doll collecting hobby. For example, with doll collecting, you can do doll photography. You can do what I'm doing right now and, you know, create videos and put them on YouTube and TikTok. I mean, that's my favorite thing. I love creating videos and talking to people about my collection and doll collecting tips. So make sure to subscribe if you want more doll collecting tips or American Girl doll news, because I also talk a lot about American Girl doll news, so subscribing is always fun. Do you make doll clothes? Have you learned to sew for your dolls? That's another skill that comes from doll collecting, or could come from doll collecting. So, you know, talk about, it's not just about buying dolls, it's about what you do with them and the skills that you have developed that can be transferable to other things. Another tip is find common ground. Look for shared interests or hobbies between you and your friends and family. Finding common ground can help bridge the gap and encourage open-mindedness and acceptance. Maybe if you open the door for letting people know that you collect dolls, they might open up about a hobby that they're embarrassed about sharing about. But that, you know, common thing, which is sharing an unusual hobby. It just might not be the same unusual hobby, but it might be something that the common masses, the world, doesn't necessarily do on a regular basis. Communicate your enthusiasm and love for doll collecting. When you gently express your passion, people can open up, and people love strong personalities. I know, because I am one. Just kidding. My strong personality, as they told me in high school, got me in a lot of trouble. But then I started doing theater, and it's really benefited me for that. So sometimes a strong personality and passion is really appreciated. If people don't appreciate your passion, you need to go somewhere else. But you may be surprised. If you are very enthusiastic about doll collecting and the skills that you can learn from doll collecting, you might be surprised at how many people will support your hobby because they see how passionate you are and how many skills you're gaining and learning about. Number 4, share your personal story. Now, this doesn't have to be a tragic backstory of like, you know, when I was a kid, this happened and it was depressing. No, it doesn't have to be like that. I mean, it can if you would like, but it really doesn't have to be like that. You can share a story of, I really like American Girl dolls because when I was a kid, I'm gonna use a personal example here. I saved up all summer to buy one of my American Girl dolls when I found out that my family was going to do a trip to Boston, and there was an American Girl store in Boston. There isn't anymore, but I saved up all summer at 11 years old to be able to buy my Emily Bennett doll. So that's one of the reasons. And I love sharing that story because it taught me how to save and how to work hard and put your mind to do something, and you can achieve anything you put your mind to. So that was one key story from my childhood that's really, you know, helped me grow as a person. So sharing stories like that could maybe help people understand why you collect dolls. Another tip is just give people time. Just because somebody reacts negatively to the first time they're hearing new information doesn't mean they're, you know, forever going to have that same opinion and that same reaction. People learn and grow. So just because somebody who is really close to you has a negative reaction to your doll collection or anything else you tell them doesn't necessarily mean that they're gonna keep that opinion forever. They may grow and change as a person. Sometimes you could just, you know, meet someone on a bad day or a bad phase in their life and they're just really negative in that period of time. So sometimes just give it time. And if you're getting that energy from the person that this is not the right time to tell them, also listen to that as well. Remember that sometimes not everyone fully embraces or understands your hobby, and that's okay. The most important thing is that you stay true to yourself and you find joy in doll collecting and focus on the reasons why you started this hobby in the first place. So thank you so much for watching. If you want more doll collecting advice, I will have a link in the description with a playlist of all my doll collecting advice that I have for collectors. Also, make sure to subscribe and also follow my Instagram and TikTok for more updates on American Girl and my collections over there. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.